welcome back to the ICA podcast. I'm Steve Prines, the course author and instructor for our home inspection training program. Today I want to spend a little bit of time talking about you. Specifically, what have you done for yourself lately? Now I know that a lot of you listening are hoping to make a change. You're hoping to do something better for yourself. Everybody has a different situation. Maybe you're working, but you don't particularly like what you do. Maybe you don't feel appreciated at your job. Maybe you're not making enough money. Maybe you've been recently laid off and you've been having trouble finding something else. Maybe you're working 2 or 3 jobs trying to make ends meet. We recently went through the holiday season, and whatever type of holiday you celebrate, I hope it was a good one for you. But typically, as people approach the new year, they start thinking about their situation, and some of us even make New Year's resolutions, trying to improve our position, trying to improve our personal lives. And 2016 has gotten started here, and as we get this new year underway, it really is time to think about, what have you done for yourself? Now, maybe you bought yourself some new clothes, or you went to a show, or you went out to dinner to a place that you thought was really nice. And maybe that made you feel better on a short-term basis. What I'm talking about here is not what you've done in the short term to make yourself feel better today or tomorrow, but what have you done to make things better for you and your family if you have one? Make things better for the long term. Improve your income, improve your personal situation where you can feel good about what you're doing. The National Association of Realtors tells us that 2015 was the best year for existing home sales since the year 2006. That's 9 years ago. So we had the best real estate year in the past 9 years. There were 5.26 million existing homes sold in the United States in the year 2015. So if you were thinking of getting into the home inspection business and you've been thinking about it for a while, well, you just missed the best year we've had in 9 years. So it's really time to make some decisions. I know we keep hearing about the bad economy, and for some individuals, I guess it is bad, but it can't be that bad if we have the best real estate year in 9 years. So obviously some folks are making money. A lot of folks, in fact, are making money. Well, why not you? Why shouldn't you make a good living? You deserve it. You work hard every day, or you would like to work hard every day if your situation is one where you've been laid off. So it's really time for some self-analysis for yourself. You have to really think about making this change now. I know that some of you listening to this podcast have been hemming and hawing about getting into the home inspection business for over a year. The reason I know that's a fact is because of the emails we get. We'll get inquiry emails from someone, then we get emails from that same individual 4 months later, 6 months later, a year later. So we know there's folks sitting out there just afraid to make the transition. Let me tell you about a few folks that have gone through our program. Maybe this will help you to decide because, again, we had the best real estate year last year in 9 years. We expect this year to be a good year as well. And this year is a presidential election year, and for whatever reason, historically, and you can check this out yourself if you want, historically, an election year is typically a good year for the economy. So we have every reason to believe that home sales will be good again this year. You don't want to miss out on another good real estate year. It's always better to start your home inspection business when you're having a good real estate year for obvious reasons. There's more houses being sold and more home inspectors are needed, and it makes your marketing quite a bit easier when folks need home inspectors. So let's talk about a few of our graduates. Let's start with Dave. Dave is from the Orlando area in Central Florida. He's an auto service technician, which I guess really means he's a mechanic, works for a car dealer. Dave's situation is this. He's tired of leaning under the hood, racking his knuckles, having a sore back, having sore hands. I think he's been doing auto mechanic work for quite a while, so I'm guessing he's a guy that's in his mid-40s or maybe approaching 50. Well, he decided to try to make a positive change for himself, and he completed our program last summer of 2015. Now, guess what? He managed to get himself 27 home inspections while still working full-time for the car dealer. 27 inspections. I think that's doing very well considering he's still working at the car dealer. He did a little bit of marketing in his spare time, which is primarily evenings and weekends. He really didn't get anything for a couple of months. He wasn't too worried about that because he was still working full-time. I exchanged a couple of emails with him. That's why I know his situation. And I suggested to Dave that, just keep your marketing efforts up. Keep getting your face out there. Keep circulating some literature. And eventually you'll get something. Well, after a couple of months of part-time marketing, he wasn't going at it real hard. He was just visiting a few real estate offices here or there. Well, after a couple of months of that, he got his first home inspection. And of course, he was thrilled. So he got his first home inspection in the fall of 2015, and he managed to get a couple more that month. Then the next month, he got about 10 or 12. Then the next month, he got even more. Then we started approaching the holiday season, and of course, the real estate season tends to drop off in most areas of the country when you hit about Thanksgiving or so. Just because as we approach the holiday season, a lot of people don't really want to sell their house. And in fact, sometimes when people have a house on the market, they actually will take it off the market for the holiday season and then put it back on the market in the spring. I think the fact that Dave completed a program probably midsummer of 2015, imagine get himself 27 home inspections before the end of the year while still working full-time, I think that's outstanding. I just recently exchanged emails with him, and he told me he's currently deciding when to commit full-time to home inspections. He told me he's already done 15 home inspections in the year 2016, and that's through mid-February. So in about 6 or 7 weeks, he's gotten himself 15 home inspections, and again, he is still working full-time for the car dealer. And the real estate season is really just starting to pick up again. We're not full tilt into it yet. So I think that's a really nice story. Now I've got another nice story for you, and it gets even better. We're going to talk about Charlie. He's from the Chicago area. Actually, I think he's from the western suburbs of Chicago, if you're familiar with the area. He's in his early 50s. He told me that. And again, he's another person I exchanged a few emails with. The reason I have any information, any of our graduates, is because sometimes they reach out to me with some questions, and we exchange a little bit of dialogue through email, and I like to find out how things are going for them. That's why I know any of this stuff. So again, we have Charlie from the Chicago area. He's in his early 50s. He completed our program in fall of 2014. Last year, he did 103 home inspections. So in 2015, he did 103 home inspections. So if you look at the national average home inspection fee for the Chicago area, he probably made about $35,000 gross from his home inspection business. To supplement his income, he did some remodeling work as well because he is a carpenter, although he's rapidly phasing that out. Last time I talked to him, he's planning to work more as a home inspector and less as a carpenter in the year 2016, and he's hoping to phase out his carpentry business completely by the end of 2016. He believes he can do 200 to 300 home inspections this year in 2016, and I agree with him. His marketing efforts are working well for him, and he just needs to continue to do what he's been doing, and he'll get more home inspections. Now let's talk about Deborah from the Columbus area, Columbus, Ohio, and she goes by Deb, really. Not sure exactly how old Deb is. I'm guessing she's in her mid-30s just from some dialogue of exchange with her. I do know that she has a degree in finance, and the reason she took our program, which she finished about a year ago, was because she really didn't like what she did. Yeah, she spent the time. She spent 4 years getting a bachelor's in finance. She's even put some time in on a master's, although she hasn't completed that. But what she learned, and this is really why she hasn't completed her master's, is that she just hated showing up the office every day and going through the office politics in her 8 to 5 business day and having to put on nice clothes, and she just got tired of it. It's not for everybody. A lot of people thrive in the office environment, but a lot of us don't. She thought she would like that. As it turns out, she doesn't like it so much. As I said, I think she's in her mid-30s, and I'm only basing that on the fact that I know she did some other things before she had this finance position. In any case, as I said, she finished her program about a year ago. She decided to quit her job on the spot and just get into home inspections full time. So, yeah, she had a little bit of risk here. My understanding is that she is married, so her spouse was working, so they did have some income. She quit her job. She started marketing home inspections. She did 179 home inspections in the year 2015. And as I said, she finished her program about a year ago. This would have been in winter of 2015. So in a little less than a year, she did 179 home inspections in the Columbus area. And based on Columbus, Ohio typical inspection fees, I'm guessing she made about $54,000 in gross revenue. That's really, really good for your first year, but it's also extremely doable. The fact that she had a degree in finance may or may not have helped her in marketing. And remember, finance is not marketing. Finance is more about handling money. Marketing is getting cash flow. So I don't know that her degree really helped her all that much. And the reason I say that is I don't want any of you to think, well, she had this degree, that's why she did so well. Not necessarily. She did 179 home inspections last year, not even a full year. I will mention something that may have helped her is the fact that she is female. There are not a lot of lady home inspectors in the United States. And absolutely, that can be advantageous if you're a female and you play it right. And I'm not talking about being politically correct here or being chauvinistic. I'm just telling you the facts. We don't have that many lady home inspectors, but yet the majority of real estate agents are women. So if you are a female and you're thinking about getting into this business, that can be an advantage for you. First of all, half the battle in any type of business is to get yourself to stand out from the rest. When you're a female home inspector, automatically you're standing apart from the rest of us men. And I'm dead serious about this. 98% of this business is men. There are hardly any lady inspectors. If you were to go to an ASHI national conference, and ASHI is the American Society of Home Inspectors, that is the oldest and largest professional home inspector association in the United States. If you were to go to one of their national conferences, you might see 1,500 home inspectors at that conference. And I am not exaggerating here at all. If there are 1,500 home inspectors there, 1,450 of them will be men. In fact, I might even be low on that. It might be something like 1,480 of them may be men, and 20 of them will be ladies. I'm dead serious about that. So being a female in this business absolutely can be a marketing advantage. And perhaps Deb from Columbus made that work for her. I had a good friend in the Chicago area. I'm in the Chicago area, as many of you know. And my friend Michelle does over 800 home inspections a year between her and an employee inspector. 800 a year. She's done very, very well for herself. Finally, I want to talk about Dan down in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He completed the Inspection Certification Associates Home Inspection Training Program about 2 years ago. He did 330 home inspections in 2015. Let me say that again. Dan did 330 home inspections last year in 2015. And he has a great backstory. And I know his backstory may be similar to a lot of you listening to this podcast. Dan had been laid off 3 times in 2 years from different jobs. He had worked for quite a while as a maintenance technician in a factory. Unfortunately, that factory closed. So fairly quickly, he managed to hook on with a local construction company as a drywaller. Well, unfortunately, that construction company ended up going out of business after Dan had only been with them for 5 months. He had trouble finding work. He was out of work for about 4 or 5 months. He ended up getting a job in a gas station food mart, making minimum wage. It was better than nothing. It was at that point, working in a gas station food mart, that he did a little bit of self-examination. He'd worked for quite a few years in a factory, making decent money, but not great. He lost that, hooked up as a drywaller, as I mentioned, again, making decent money, but not great. And then he ends up making minimum wage. He realized his life was really going backwards. He decided to do something for himself and improve his situation. That is when he decided to take our program and get into the home inspection business. So he graduated from our program, as I said, a couple of years ago, started marketing himself, did 330 inspections last year. Dan is now making more money than he ever has in his life, and he is definitely not looking back. In fact, last time I talked to Dan, he told me he had proposed to his longtime girlfriend. They got engaged, and they're planning to get married later this year in 2016. And now he feels like he's able to get married. And he didn't tell me this. I'm just telling you what is probably going on. As he told me, this is his long-term girlfriend, so why didn't they get married before? Again, I'm speculating here, but probably because he didn't feel like he could afford to, didn't feel like he had the means. Now Dan's feeling really good about himself. He's making a lot of money. He's in a good position. And you know what? Your personal relationships always get better when you feel good about yourself. So Dan feels good about himself. He can't wait to get married. I got into this business back in 1992 for reasons similar to Dan. Now, fortunately, I hadn't been laid off, but at the time I was working for a large hospital and criminal justice architecture firm. And after I had survived 3 layoffs, I was in the construction management department for this architecture firm. I was not an architect, but after I survived 3 layoffs with this firm, I decided to take matters in my own hands. And I started looking for things that I could do using my skill set, and the home inspection industry caught my eye. So long story short for me, when I started working for this firm, they had 110 people in the Chicago office, and by the time I was able to leave that position, having survived 5 layoffs at that point, the Chicago office was down to just 26 people. I never did get laid off, but I'm glad they liked me and valued my skills, but the point is I decided to take matters in my own hands. In fact, at one point, I thought for sure I was going to be laid off. I used to take the train downtown because I live in the suburbs of Chicago, and this firm is in downtown Chicago, so I would take the train every day. Because of that, I started cleaning out my desk so I could take things home on the train every day. I was that sure I was going to get laid off. So I got into this business in 1992. I have never, ever looked back. I have never regretted my decision to go into the home inspection business. It's a great profession where you can feel really good about what you do every day. You don't have to go into the office wearing a suit and a tie every day. You don't have to show up every day working at a factory, hurting your back, making your legs sore, cracking your knuckles working under a hood. You get to do this for yourself. You get to make your clients feel really good about what you did. And every time you get a check from a home inspection, you feel really, really good about your personal situation. So I urge you, if you're thinking of making a move this year, make that move now. Strongly consider enrolling in our program right now, and don't miss the rest of the 2016 real estate season. I do want to say that if you have any questions about the home inspection business, feel free to email us at any time. Now, typically, you'll get our fine sales staff at the ICA offices, but if you really want to get an email to me and you have questions specifically for me, they will forward emails on to me, and I will be glad to answer questions for you about the home inspection business. Very glad to do it. As I said, I love this business. I've never regretted a minute of it. So that about concludes today's podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening. That's all for today.